And just keep trying to stress it out.
Stressed out. You got taxes. You got taxes tomorrow.
You've got a mortgage to think about. You have children. You're the only one who has to suffer through the whole thing with me, Jack. Thank you for your sacrifice.
And then I get to do it again.
Oh yeah, you're right. Oh yeah, you get to do this for a long... I'm sorry.
Come on, Ryan.
If you've got a mouse for gaming or otherwise that stopped clicking, we're going to show you how to fix it.
Is that a G502 I spot?
It is. The Logitech G502. I bought it in 2020 for about 50 bucks. They're cheaper now, but my left click has become kind of inconsistent. The G502, it has sticky feet, as well as the MX Master 3S that I did. So you have to actually pry these off. So you can technically save this if you really want to, but I went ahead and just bought a new set because I don't want them coming unstuck. All in all, I paid $10 for the parts that we're going to use here today, and I'll end up having an extra switch.
We're going to be soldering, right?
Yeah.
How difficult is that to get into?
Cost-wise, not too bad. You can get a Harbor Freight soldering iron and a cheap, this is the solder sucker. This is probably the most important tool we're gonna use today. That's what's gonna make this just an incredibly easy repair. I think I paid $15 for this one because I wanted one that was metal. You know, for like $20 or so of tools even, you could probably get into this pretty easily.
You don't have an LTT screwdriver?
Not with
What about an LTT stubby screwdriver?
I do have. There we go. Tool and just very carefully pull up, and then the ribbon cable will come right out.
Any ThinkPad user would know how to do such a thing.
What's the channel's budget for this video? He is the 4 pins of the USB cable. That is very important.
That's what that is.
Yeah. Yeah, see, it goes, if you need to replace the cable on this mouse, it's actually pretty easy. This same form factor is used all over the place, but these two for left and right click are different brand than the rest of them. So these are all, I'm gonna mispronounce it, but Kale switches, I think. And these are both Omicron. So these are actually what we're replacing. Original switches for this mouse, we'll have to fact check me. They're a few million clicks. I think they're like 2 or 3 million clicks. These that I'm replacing it with, 10 million clicks. That's another benefit of replacing your own switches. The MX Master 3S came with 1 million click switches because they were super quiet. So whenever I replaced them, I actually did go to a more tactile switch that's a little bit louder because they last, I think, 5 million clicks in that. So I've got a Hakko FX951. I'm setting it to way too high of a temperature because it just makes it go faster.
What'd you just turn on there?
This is just a fume extractor. So it may make a little bit of noise in the video, but it's so that I don't breathe in leaded solder fumes, which I think is fair. Whenever I touch my soldering iron to the original solder on the pad, it doesn't melt even at 700 Celsius. But as I add the new solder, like I said, the flux in the solder does help better. But yeah, so all 3 of those are now flowing. So like I said earlier, my most important tool here is the solder sucker. We're gonna heat up the solder and then push the button. And basically it sucks out the solder in one big burst of air. Here we go. All right, so next thing we can go ahead and start doing, now that it's pretty close, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my pliers. If I could get the rest of that solder out, this would go a lot easier though.
Well, what is this though, the strange liquid?
So this strange liquid is called flux. It just makes solder flow. Solder is metal that gets liquefied when I touch a hot soldering iron to it. It just has a really low melting point. This just makes it to where instead of it flowing, honestly, it's like goopy, and then you add solder or flux and it turns a lot more liquefied. All right. I took apart the switch. You wanna see the inside of a switch? So it's got like a lever that basically just clicks. It's like a flexible piece of metal. Haha, there we go. I mangled it on the way out, but it's out. So that's the old switch. Important thing now is we're gonna go and clean up the holes, get all the old solder out that we possibly can. So one thing I do have to be careful about is not adding too much solder because then it'll just fall out on the mouse pad. Here we go. So in theory, the new switch pops right in and works perfectly the first time. What's great about cleaning up the holes like I did is that there we go, I wiggled them in. What you wanna make sure is that the switch is flush with the PCB, which mine appears to be. Cleaning up the holes, it is a little bit more work there, but it does definitely save you time in the long run. You do kind of want to shake it a little so that way it goes down into the hole, but yeah, we could, if we wanted to, do a continuity test. I don't want to. Another thing I do want to be careful here, I do have a resistor right there that is extremely, extremely small, like smaller than a grain of rice. So I hit that with the amount of heat that my soldering iron is putting out right now, it will likely cause bad times for me. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add flux to the solder that already is there, so that way it'll flow a little better. And then I will add new solder. Just do like a super cut of all the little... You know, I said that I wasn't gonna use the solder wick. I may go and use the solder wick.
What is solder wick?
So solder wick is just copper that's woven together. So what I'll normally do is I'll just cut off a new piece. Copper absorbs solder like a sponge. If you can get it hot enough, this will just absorb it away from the pads. And I guess the other issue is it'll take the solder off of your soldering iron too. You have to retin the tip of your soldering iron with new solder. I've removed most of the solder from those 3 holes. Aha, there it is. All right, we got the old one out. We broke it again, but that's okay. As a side note, I would never attempt this personally with my experience soldering on a mouse that works. You know, I would not buy a new mouse and immediately switch out the switches. I always do this on a mouse that would otherwise be replaced. Just put it right in. You do like I did earlier, just kind of push it in. I did.
What'd you do?
I melted the bejesus out of that switch.
Does it still click?
Oh yeah, he's working. That's not a very important switch, so we're gonna own that little boo-boo and just see if it works. Worst case, I'll replace it too. I have more than one switch. Thankfully, that's the exact same form factor as these switches, so we'll be okay. So now in theory, minus the melted switch, we left this better than we found it. All right, so we've got 2 10 million rated switches, and we are ready to put the mouse back together.
Oh, wow.
It feels very nice. Let's see if it works. All right, so he's on. I'm not having to push hard. Previously, I was having to push really hard to get it to stay dragged. If you ever need your switches replaced, I got a bunch of them now.
Call Ryan.
Yeah.
He'll fix your switches.
No, I'm talking about you. You.
So just gotta stick on the sticky pads and that's it?
Yep, pretty much. In conclusion, that was actually a lot easier than I thought it was gonna be. In some ways, and a lot harder in others. You can see we destroyed both of the old switches. I had to kind of bend them and rock them out. You hear my hand against the microphone. Thank you for watching. No. Thank you for watching No Plan, and subscribe and hit the bell.
Hey.